bounce. And I feel like I recognized at least one of the voices, but I
I,
want to be positive.
I know I was gonna stump you, but go ahead, take a guess real quick.
You can share. Go ahead.
Okay. Shout out to Texas. I just came across this song this past weekend. I thought it was dope. But the name of the song is Johnny Dang,
Okay.
and it is by the Mexican OT, Paul Wall, and somebody by the name of Drody.
I feel like I saw a little clip. Does the Mexican OT like have on a hat
He sure does.
and it's like spray airbrushed or something or
I don't recall, but you know that Asian dude that was on all the bling bling grill videos.
Johnny? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the song is basically
Oh, basically about him.
about him.
Okay.
So you know they're flexing their grills and whatnot. It's a Texas song.
Very much so. Big
Absolutely.
rims and grills. Okay.
Hey, shout out to my brown folk, man. You know y'all be having bars. Y'all ain't gonna front. Y'all be having bars when y'all get behind the mic. So you know, shout out to the Mexican OT. That dude is nice.
Hey, give it up. Black and brown together. We like that. So, one, I promised you guys I was going to play Steve Harvey's response. I did not forget. I just saved it. So, we're going to get into that right now. And then we're going to get into the rest of the stories.
Let me say this to you, Shirley. We have known about this right after it happened, but we can't get in nobody's marriage and just go, girl, what you doing? What you thinking? What you
We
feeling?
didn't want to say nothing.
Right. They didn't want to say nothing
We didn't want to talk
because
about
we didn't want to talk about it, and we wanted to create for you a space where you could come to work and have some moments. Because I know what it's like
And you did.
to get beaten and eaten alive. And so it became, for us, let's just be there for her. And when you want to tell us,
When
you
you're
will
ready.
tell us
Yeah.
when you're ready. Now, good thing you had Monica, Mississippi Monica, who has been with you this whole ride. You did confide in her. So Monica would keep us posted, but until you wanted to invite us in, we were just left over here as a support system. And
Well,
so
can I
we were
say-
just, yes. of
I'm
course.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but can I just say this? I look at you guys as my family. You know, we all are family. You know, a lot of times there was a time when we saw each other more than we saw our actual families. And, you know, it was just so hard for me I'm a private person, you know, but we all have our stuff. We talk afterwards. We're friends. We're all that. It was just hard for me to bring this particular thing up. I was just so embarrassed, you know, and humiliated. And I just felt like a fool. I felt so stupid. And, you know, I couldn't. It's not that I didn't want to talk about it. I just couldn't find the words. And that's the honest to God's truth.
Well, you know, like I said, Shirley was very apologetic for bringing Steve into the situation, obviously hurt from what is going on with that situation. And as I said, the details are out there. You can go and get into them. They are a little salacious, so you understand why she would be embarrassed and wouldn't want those things revealed. If you go further down the rabbit hole, there are some things that also involve her daughter and her ex-husband and so forth. So there is a lot to this story. And that is why I brought it up last week, because no matter what, even if we know that our homie is going to tell his girl, yo, you know he cheating or something like that, like, and you know, that's your best friend. At the same time, the idea that if something even as innocuous as some of the commentary seemed got out, I think that it definitely impacts working relationships. It does, because there is the thought of what you might be doing, and now there is the confirmation of what you did do. And again, not that she did anything mad, crazy, or egregious. It's just the point that sometimes some aspects, you know, people may not be comfortable with everyone being involved in it for a variety of reasons. And given some of the things that the gentleman is in jail for, and you're sharing with him the details of my house, not that this was an issue and not that Steve was worrying about that, people think about that kind of stuff too. And I don't know why people are acting like it's just casual that she specifically said, we couldn't have been there if his wife was home. That says a lot. They have a 20-year relationship. So those are my quick thoughts. Again, I hope that they're okay. We will see moving forward what becomes of the relationship and the working relationship. But Andy, what do you say?
I think it's water under the bridge.
Okay.
They aired out everything they needed to air out today, and I think things are smooth. I think Steve Harvey being not being the perfect individual that he is, and he had his own transgressions or whatnot. I'm not saying that he can relate to Shirley Strawberry, but I just think that
he can understand.
She was talking to her husband. I get it. She was talking to her homegirls or just the public, but she was talking to her husband. Look, I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't be pillow talking, but once again, it was her husband. Should she have paid attention to the fact that it was over the jail airwaves? Yeah, but at the same time, she was talking to her husband.
And it wasn't anything criminal. So who thinks
Exactly.
that anybody in the world would care about her thoughts about somebody having a spa in their house? I mean, really.
The way I see it, with any friends that I have, close, brother, working relationship, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? There's a part of me that feels like, you know what? I would not be surprised if you talked about me to your significant other. Positive, negative. I mean, like, come on.
100%. It happens. It happens. And like I said, sometimes you just learn to curtail your conversation for the parts that you don't particularly want to be common knowledge, It's just a thought. It's not a big deal. When we come forward, we will get into the Ashton Kutcher apology, what that has to do with Reagan Gomez Preston. I said Johnson. I have no idea why, but it's Reagan Gomez Preston. And we also will talk about what NBA player has been arrested for domestic violence against a WNBA player. All of that and more. You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that for Bree's car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Bree's car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look. And unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So, let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California, once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at a gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We are in hour 3. You know, this is the hour where we get a little looser. We let our hair down. We get into some of the more salacious topics. And certainly this one is not something that you want to hear, but something that we need to share and give life to. So Houston Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested in New York City on Monday for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend, who is former WNBA player. I'm going to mess up her name. I'm going to tell you right now. I believe it's Kiersey Gundrizik. I might be jacking it up. Kierce. Maybe it's Kierce. At any rate, this allegedly happened near the Millennium Hotel in New York. They were there for Fashion Week. He went out. She opted to stay in. He came back late. She locked him out of the room. And he had hotel security come and let him in the room. Allegedly, once he entered the room, he physically assaulted Kiersey. So they're saying that she was treated for a cut on the right side of her face and neck pain, supposedly grabbed her neck, and a little bit more. So Porter was drafted number 30 in the 2019 draft. He went to USC, so he's a former Trojan, and has sort of developed into a star player for the Rockets, kind of, maybe. Yeah, he had his best season with them last season, which was 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But we know the Rockets are in flux right now. And with a new head coach, Ime Udoka, we'll have to see what happened. Kiersey, she played college ball for Michigan and West Virginia. She was drafted number 4 overall in the 2021 WNBA draft by Indiana. She only played 1 season in the WNBA before being waived and hasn't played since then in 2 seasons. So we will have to see what the evolution is of this. It's fresh news. Was just arrested a couple of hours ago. Porter was previously arrested in November of 2020 in Ohio on a weapons charge, but a grand jury declined to indict him. And there is an interesting backstory on his father, who passed away in 2004 when Kevin was only 4. You might want to check it out, might want to get into it and just see, because, you know, people have their theories on children sometimes caught up in situations as such. But we hope that Kiersey is okay. And if he did do this, you know, there's a lot that will happen as far as punishment, fines, retribution, etc., etc. Wrong time to be involved in some stuff like that. Cooler heads have to prevail. Andy?
As you was talking about Kevin Porter Jr., you know, I had to Google him, and you know, this isn't the first situation. It might be a bad situation. The Rockets, I don't know what's going on with the Rockets, but they just got drama on all levels. I don't know. I hate to be that guy, but it just got me thinking about Ray Rice. There's no video of this or anything like that, so I think that might help his case. But, you know, 2 situations, domestic violence, that's not a good look at all.
And they're saying that, you know, the photos or whatever evidence, not like dire, but pretty serious, you know. We'll have to see. She was a WNBA star, so that elevates her profile. Of course, some people in the comments are always immediately going to go to money grab, and not for her, not for any reason. I will say, I always keep that on the table because it is a reality. But believe victims, and the police believed or saw enough that they arrested him. So we'll have to see as things unfold, but you really don't like to hear stuff like this, and hope that they get it together. So we'll get into the Ashton Kutcher Mila Kunis story in a minute, but I am remiss because I forgot that there is something that I wanted to talk about before we got into these other things. Listen, did you guys watch the FIBA games? Did you check them out? Did you see what happened with Team USA? Did you?
Yeah, Noah Lyles is over here laughing somewhere.
Listen, I said what I said, and then what happens? They go out there and prove me right. However, I do have a however to this, right? There were the four top players that were in the tournament, right? In this FIBA tournament, NBA players. Just putting that out there. So that means the best player, I'm going to take Gilbert Arenas' talking point really quickly. The best player on all of these other teams was still an NBA player, which means what? The best talent is probably over here. Now, let me ask you this, because we know who the MVP of do you know who the MVP was of these FIBA games for basketball? Do you know?
Was it Dennis Schroeder?
It was Dennis Schroeder. Do you think Dennis Schroeder is the best player in the world, the best professional basketball player in the world?
In this tournament, he was.
Okay. In this tournament, perhaps, but not in the whole entire world, right? No. So I'm just saying, Noah Lyles, anybody else, that, think about, we're going back to a couple weeks ago when Noah Lyles said that the NBA champs weren't really world champs. And I'm going to say, although I feel you and we see what happened, the NBA champs did not look like, well, they weren't the NBA champs. The NBA representatives did not look like the best players in the world.
The
in this
NBA
tournament.
representatives of America.
Of America, let me be clear, because you are correct in that, did not look like they were worthy of that. They actually had us looking like we were crazy out there, and Noah Lyles was right. But, coming soon, Paris, next summer, LeBron James said this is according to Shams, he writes for The Athletic, and some other places, but, I just want to give them their credit and put it out there that he hasn't actually said it yet, but I'm sure he will. But LeBron plans to commit to Team USA next summer along with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, Draymond Green. Separately, Devin Booker from Phoenix, Dame Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, and Kyrie Irving are also getting serious about committing. What I see there is only one big man, AD. So I don't know.
It's not gonna matter.
Okay.
Not with that
Okay. Granted, this kind of reminds me of the Redeem Team. Obviously D Wade and such just released a documentary on Netflix about that. But after that bomb that was dropped in the mid-90s, by Team USA, I think no, it wasn't Greece. I can't remember which Olympics it was. But or was it a World Games?
Yeah. What year? With the bomb?
With the bomb, where they crapped out, like they didn't do well. I think it might have been a World Games.
2004.
2000, the Olympics. 2000, where they got. Yeah. Is that when they got the bronze or the?
That's when they got the bronze.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
the one where they had AI, Tim Duncan, LeBron James, Carmelo. They were rookies at the time.
And so they weren't. Yeah, it didn't go over too well. And then they came back with 2008 in the Redeem Team. What I will say is that someone pointed out that these guys that are playing for the other teams that are involved in the tournament, they really want to be there, and they worked hard to get there. Whereas our guys were selected and placed there and may not have the same passion about playing in a world game and what it actually means for them. So, something to consider, something to look at when you are criticizing and critiquing. Once again, the 2023 FIBA World Cup MVP is Dennis Schroeder.
Don't say you saying that with like a negative connotation.
I'm
behind
not.
it.
Shout out to Dennis when he was on the Lakers.
Absolutely.
You
You
know,
know,
he
he
did
learned
his thing.
something.
Where did he get traded to?
Toronto.
Okay.
The Raptors.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
But check this out though. what were those names that Shams reported?
So, LeBron, Steph, KD, AD, Jason Tatum, Draymond, Devin Booker, Dame Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Kyrie.
Noah Lyles really lit a fire up under these American NBA basketball players because half of those individuals that you named had responded to Noah Lyles' comment. De'Aaron Fox, Draymond, Devin Booker, KD. I am not surprised that these individuals are like, you know what? If Noah Lyles didn't say nothing and USA basketball lost, I don't think there would have been this report of, oh, we need to come for the Olympics. Because my understanding, LeBron was done with the Olympics, right?
Right. And now you're talking about year 22 it's going to be? You're going to come back and get in there?
And I think that's the Noah Lyles effect.
Okay. I believe you on that. I absolutely agree. Someone said James Harden was probably trying to get in the mix because it's going to be Paris and he wants to take Lil Baby
James
and get
Harden,
lit.
Get out of here, bro. I'm tired of this dude, man. Get out of here, James Harden.
Listen, a lot of choices, a lot, you know? I mean, I just know one thing. It's not right when Team USA is not bringing home the gold. Doesn't make sense. The past 30 years, that has been the expectation.
I'm going to push back.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to push back only because when you look at these teams that are beating Team USA, they are NBA players.
They are. Like,
for real. So they play against this type of competition on a regular basis. So they're like, you know what? I'm going to bring this to my home country. And I'm going to show you how to defeat Anthony Edwards. I'm going to show you how to beat Bobby Portis or Brandon. Where was Brandon Ingram? Brandon Ingram was upset that he wasn't the number one dude. That's another reason why they lost. Exactly.
Pouting.
That's another reason why they lost. This is USA basketball, bro. You're going to have to check your ego to the floor.
But I guess he probably felt like, but who am I checking my ego for? Because you know there's a lot of that too. It's like it's one thing if it's LeBron and AD, but maybe they don't think they have to check their ego for, you know, the people that they were on this team with. That is a very real thing.
Look, Brandon Ingram, I saw the little practices, scrimmages, and all that stuff before they even started the tournament. Brandon Ingram wasn't that much of a factor. The big dogs was Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, and shout out to my boy AR-15, it's something like he was, every time I go on X, you know what I'm saying, I see his name trending. He's like the leading scorer of Team USA. And this was somebody who was coming off the bench.
Getting it in. I mean, what we can say, though, is that whether it's the Olympics or FIBA, it is a career-changing moment when you find success in the international games. It does tend to do something for the players that are involved in it. So really quickly, we discussed that Danny Matheson, who starred in that 70s show, was sentenced to 30 years on 2 counts of rape last week on Thursday. And, you know, there's lots of moving parts around this. There have been questions as to when that 70s show would be pulled from network TV and different airings because of what happened with the Cosby Show. Some people are like, the Cosby Show was pulled for a time period, still kind of is, not very many reruns. Why should this show be any different? Right? It ended after 8 seasons, I believe in May of 2006 originally, but it's continued to be segregated. What is going on with me? Syndicated. So it's available currently on Peacock, and you can purchase it through Amazon and a couple of other digital properties. But people are requesting that it be taken down. And some, again, are making the argument, you did it to Cosby, do it to them. Of course, there's been a lot of conversation about all of those that wrote letters of support for Danny Matheson to the court. We heard about this Of course, in the Tory Lanez case, when Iggy Azalea, Mario, and a couple of others wrote character letters to the court for him, same thing happened with this. Some of the names that were included, Bijou Phillips, which is his wife, Ashton and Mila, husband and wife, as co-stars from that 70s show. Also, Deborah Jo Rupp, who played the mom, Cutwood Smith, who played the dad, Giovanni Ribisi, he's an actor. Baby Driver? I think that's the last thing I remember seeing him in. William Baldwin, and a couple of others. So the question that I want to ask really quickly, and we were going to play some of Ashton and Mila's response, but I kind of feel like we don't need to. I mean, well, maybe we'll play a little bit of it, but I just want to know what your thoughts are on character witnesses, because the thing is this, the reality about jail in whatever capacity, prison, crimes, these people at some point are going to come out, right? They don't go to jail or get canceled and disappear off the face of the earth. Somebody has to be there as a support system. Maybe, maybe not. But would you look at someone differently who said, hey, I don't know what this person was to you, but to me, this is how they were? Is that fair? Because, I mean, at this point, it's kind of hard. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be second guessing writing character letters of reference the way that things keep getting leaked out and exposed. Let's be clear. There is no more in the dark. There is no more moving in secret. I mean, there is, but you get what I'm saying, right? When we come forward, we'll have more on that story. We'll also get into the Mel Tucker story about MSU suspending him and what he is accused of. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Sounds of bells tolling in New York as the nation marks the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. Solemn tributes were held in New York at the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to honor the nearly 3,000 Americans killed in the attacks. Nearly 2,700 people are dead after a powerful earthquake caused widespread destruction in Morocco. Thousands were injured in Friday's quake, which was the strongest to hit the nation in more than a century. And the clock is winding down toward a possible strike against America's top automakers. The United Auto Workers Union is readying to go on strike on Friday if GM, Ford, and Stellantis don't meet demands on pay raises, pensions, and job protections. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Prime members save more at your Amazon Fresh store. As a Prime member, you'll save 10% on hundreds of items in store, from organic produce to pantry staples to handcrafted pizza. Head to Amazon.com/fresh locations and find a store near you.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions. New victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. There is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
The Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center proudly presents its 25th annual Real Black Men Short Film Showcase, September 22nd through September 24th. Join us for the opening night celebration on Friday, September 22nd, and enjoy the short film showcase featuring 47 films by emerging black male directors from across the country. Continuing on Saturday, September 23rd and Sunday, September 24th. All events will be held at the Regal LA Live Cinemas, 1000 West Olympic Boulevard in downtown Los Angeles. For more information and tickets, visit bherc.org. That's bherc.org or call 323-957-4656. That's 323-957-4656. Don't miss your chance to celebrate excellence in black cinema all weekend long at the Real Black Men Short Film Showcase. See you there.
Be ready for extreme heat in your area. On days when extreme heat is expected, take action to keep your home as cool as possible. Set your air conditioner to 78 degrees. If AC isn't available, close blinds and curtains on all windows and run fans counterclockwise. Or find your nearest cooling center. Transportation help may be available. Learn more at heatreadyca.com. Brought to you by the state of California.
Escalade IQ. This the intro to the all-electric Cadillac perfected like Zoom. And on a full charge, you get 450 miles without the stop. Haiku. This is what I do. Daddy fat intellect since 92. Linked all the way back, panoramic roof. Coming 24-inch rim standard. Ooh, why? Shawty don't kill him. Cadillac diamond in the back, cold chillin'. And when I'm on attack, on the track is no ceiling. Sky's the limit. You hear me? You hear me? Straight drop, no parachutes. Lay lines like a longitude and latitude. Feel it, beloved, clearly we're hustling. Bustin', truckin'. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac.
For more on the Escalade IQ, visit Cadillac.com. Available late 2024. GM estimate 450-mile range. On a full charge based on development testing and/or analytical projection. Consistent with NCHA 1634 revision 2017 MCT. Range subject to change prior to production. Annual rates may vary based on service factors, including ambience temperature, terrain, battery age, and condition loading, and how you use and maintain your vehicle.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
1990, Chub Rock jumps upon the scene with a lean and a pocket full of green. The green doesn't symbolize I made it on the top, but RoboCop last year was a shock. The tone of the Popeye cut shook your butt. Kids are screaming, the media says what? Kind of music is this for you to dance to? The man with the plan and the band demands you. Leave the smack and the crack for the whack, for the vial and the knock. Keep a
Where
smile
is
like
Chub
that.
Rock?
Leave the knife and the gun in the store.
Just thought I'd ask. Shout out to Andy. That is 1990. I believe that's when that was hitting. I believe so. I think I'm right about that. 1990. I'm right. I knew it. Shout out to Chub Rock. I don't know I don't remember any other song by Chub Rock but this one. Although I knew he had another single, like I remembered at the time, but since it's left me, and I feel like this song was really, really big, and that was it. you know? But I don't think that you should call him a one-hit wonder for some reason. Don't know if that all makes sense, but it makes sense to me at the moment. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, that's just my music rambling, just a little bit of history. Don't cut? No, that was thinking about it. I know this song. See, that's why I said you couldn't call him a one-hit wonder. I knew just the two of us. That's right. But listen, do you hear this ever? Right. Nobody referenced it, right? The only Chubb Rock song you hear referenced is Treat 'Em Right. And we just celebrated the 50th year of hip hop. Nobody said, where's Chubb Rock? Nobody invited Chubb Rock out to perform. And that's no shade to you, Chubb Rock. I'm just wondering what happened. I just think about stuff like that sometimes.
It's a lot of rappers, though.
It is a lot of rappers.
I mean.
But here's the thing. If we're talking about and I could be wrong about this, probably. So when I think about 1990, right? Hammer probably had the biggest album, and that's when, things were probably starting to change over.
Vanilla Ice, too.
Huh?
Vanilla
Ice, Ice Baby. Yeah. Do we count Vanilla Ice? I mean, we do, but do we? I'm just saying. What else was out during that time that was really big? NWA had the Ends for Life album. It was backwards. Tone Loc was 88, I feel like. Wild Thing was 87, 88. And he, Tone Loc's was white hot, but he flamed out so fast. Funky Cole Medina and Wild Thing. And both of those are, weren't they samples from pop hits, back in the day? So I don't know. Hip-hop is interesting. I know that we're past the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, but I still might bring it up now and again because I like it, right? You like it too. Shout out to all of that. Now, I said that we weren't going to get too much into the weeds with the that 70s show story. Gave you a bit about Ashton and his wife and the blowback that they are receiving because, Ashton is very much for sex trafficked children, women, protecting them. He has been doing things as far as charities in this area for many, many years. So people are looking at him funny. They also think that Mila doesn't know what she's really getting into, even though she's an adult. Because if you weren't aware, she was 14 years old when she was cast on that show. She lied about her age when she went on the audition. And there were some situations, things, old interviews that are surfacing now that people think show that she was groomed. That is a very hot button conversation at this time. And that she, might not realize that she was taken advantage of in the situations with them. They're also, of course, bringing up some old interviews back in the day. One of those interviews was how Danny Matheson bet Ashton $10 to put his tongue in Mila's mouth. And it was her first kiss ever. It was a scene from the show. So there was that. There was a scene from Punk'd where Ashton said that everybody was waiting for Hillary Duff to turn 18. So people are like, the signs had been there, maybe a little rapey behavior, maybe a little edgy. I don't know. Maybe they felt it threw him off when he got with Demi Moore because she was so much older than him. But, people are very curious, I'll use that word, as to what would make them support Danny in this way. And so, Andy, I kind of got to ask you, what would you do in that situation if your friend was accused of a horrible crime, but had always been, per se, a good person to you? That's what I'm going to assume that they're saying. What would you do?
I'm going to have a conversation and be like, yo, what's really good? This is what I'm hearing. Is this true? And based on how this person responds, I'll act accordingly.
I think it's a very hard thing because, sometimes good people do bad things. I'm not saying this in direct relation to Danny, let's be clear. But in general, though, sometimes good people do bad things and they still need support. But how do you support someone if you don't necessarily agree with their actions? How much time has to pass before you believe that the I'm sorry is really true, that they are really regretful or remorseful for their decisions. There's all those type of things that play a role.
Well, the true apology is their
Change
actions.
behavior,
Yeah,
yeah.
change behavior. So I think once you see the individual change their behavior, and I mean, I don't know what time frame you would put on that, but it's up to you and how long you feel. I use the example of like Michael Vick, for example. You could look at him and be like, you know what, he's changed. So it depends on the time frame.
I agree with you. And I think, too, social media allows for a certain degree of grandstanding where people act more pious than they probably really are and, hold people to a standard that they aren't reaching for in their own life. So I think that there is a bit of that at play with a lot of this as well. Really quickly, I'm going to get into Reagan Gomez old tweets about her time on the show. She said that she had a great audition. She killed it. They brought her in for a chemistry read with Danny Matheson. It was supposed to be a reoccurring role as she played his girlfriend. I don't know if you remember, if you watched that 70s show, there also was a storyline. Hyde was abandoned. Turns out he found out he was actually half black. Tim Reed, who is a famous black actor, played his father during that time period. So they had him link up with Reagan. I can't remember what her character's name was during that time period. But she said that the cast was really cruel to her, that they wouldn't speak to her, in between takes and things of that nature. She said that the casting directors and the producers, they loved her take on the character and the way she delivered it in her audition, but that after she went to a table read, which is where the cast reads over the script sort of in rehearsal before they actually go to shoot it, that her agent called her frantically afterwards and was like, hey, they'd like you to take some of the sass out of it, take the black girl levels down a bit, basically. And so she didn't understand. She was very confused, again, with the cast not being nice to her. It just was a difficult working experience. And though the role was supposed to be reoccurring for a while, it ended up being short-lived. So, perhaps the signs were there all along. People talk about how Wilmer Valderrama, who played Fez, I think that was his character, Danny and Ashton, used to run Hollywood at that time. I can attest to this. I worked at Nike at the time, and we actually did a party for Ashton and Demi for 4th of July at one of our events. That was very interesting. And some drama happened with Paris Hilton. Random, I know. When we come forward, we will get into the story of the MSU football coach who has been suspended. We'll talk about what he did and where that story is sort of letting out at this point in time. It's more to come with it. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Sprinklers in the Rain and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on.
K-Drip.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, I mentioned that we were going to get into the story about Kendrick Lamar and the leak of elements. We're not going to get into that tonight, but tomorrow we will. I just wanted to let you know that I hadn't forgot, and it is an interesting story. But I thought that this story about Michigan State head football coach Mel Tucker was pretty interesting. So Mel Tucker has been suspended from his duties. He is in the second year of a 10-year, $95 million contract, the third largest ever given to a football coach at a public university. So before you even ask, yes, Mel Tucker is Black. Okay? Just want to put that out there. So what he has been accused of is sexually harassing an activist named Brenda Tracy. Now, the reason why this is particularly egregious is that Brenda is not only a sexual assault advocate, she is a victim of sexual assault. She was gang raped about 25 years ago. And so she has taken her experience and goes on to speak with athletes at various schools about her situation. So essentially, what they're saying happened is that she and Mel became friends when he invited her to come speak to the football players, right? And that eventually, you know, they developed a rapport, but then he started making unwanted advances. She's accusing the Spartans coach of not only sexually harassing her in conversation, but that he masturbated during a phone call with her without consent, and that there were other like conversations and videos sent. He initially said that the interaction didn't happen, and he didn't say that it didn't happen. He said, one, that it was consensual, but that it didn't happen during his working hours as far as the coaching. But that proves to be a lie. You know, text messages kind of got timestamps on it, and if you were at a game or an away game and you were doing these things, they're gonna know. But he wasn't truthful. So right now, what is happening is there will be a Title IX hearing that is going to take place on October 9th. And if MSU determines that they can fire him for cause, he would not be owed the $70 million that is left on his contract. So that is where we are at right now. Now, some are saying, because the reason why this is all being made public is because of an investigation that was reported in USA Today. Some are complaining that MSU knew this information in July and didn't move to suspend him or fire him at that time, and that they're only acting now because it has been made aware to the public. certainly looks that way to a degree, certainly a possibility. They are not understanding why you would wait until you get into season with these players and subject them to that kind of scrutiny behind his actions. And that, it's a little bit too little, too late. Basically, a for-cause firing would void the buyout of the remainder of his contract. He signed it in November of 2021, and for-cause firings are like not unheard of in college sports, but they're rare. And they tend to happen more in basketball than football per reports. So we shall see what becomes of this story. That's a big bag to blow for just going to take your flirting somewhere else. I mean, and especially egregious considering what she had been through. Now, I don't know if maybe maybe he felt they had developed a rapport and that he missed some signs or some clues, but it certainly is a shame that, it had to happen. It had to come down this way. They said that these incidents happened in April of 2022. They had become friends, but Tucker became flirtatious after he brought Tracy to campus twice. This is what she's alleging. Once to speak to his team and once to be the honorary captain at a 2022 spring game. He disputes Tracy's claim, saying that everything was consensual. She filed the complaint last December, and it led to the Title IX investigation by an outside attorney, which wrapped up in July. So, again, some are confused as to why the suspension is just coming now, 2 games into the season after the USA Today report. I don't know, but it does look a little tricky. In a perfect world, well, not in a perfect world, because he's trying to get his bread, or at least some of it, but he should probably resign, because I'm sure that they have the text messages, and, it's going to be really difficult to garner a lot of sympathy under those circumstances. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But as I said, I believe October 9th is when the hearing will take place. So we will see what's going on with that then. Terry says MSU had a doctor that is in prison because he tapped some of the female Olympic gymnast participants. You're talking about Larry, I'm blanking on his last name, but I do know who you're talking about. And that's another thing. MSU probably does not want to deal with another scandal in that nature, which is why I don't understand why they didn't make moves in July when they received this information. It's curious to me. I also want to point out that there was an NFL record set this weekend. 14 black quarterbacks started week 1. We'll run them down for you really quickly. Anthony Richardson with the Colts, Bryce Young with the Panthers, C.J. Stroud with the Texans, Dak Prescott with the Cowboys, Deshaun Watson with the Browns, Desmond Ridder, I'm not sure who that is, with the Falcons, Geno Smith with the Seahawks, Jalen Hurts with the Eagles. Woo, shout out to Jalen Hurts. Jordan Love with the Packers, Joshua Dobbs with the Cardinals, Justin Fields with the Bears, Lamar Jackson, of course, with Baltimore? Yeah, the Ravens. Russell Wilson with the Broncos, and Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. My Rams did take their first game. Shout out to them, 1-0. We can stand on it confidently. Of course, I want to thank you guys for locking in with us tonight. Let me give you a little sneak preview of what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. Partially because we had so much to talk about tonight, some of my stories got pushed. So we're definitely going to get into the Kendrick and Elements conversation because I think it's good for hip hop. And I want to know what your thoughts are on some of the direct shots that he took. We're also going to get into a leaked Google spreadsheet that reveals black employees earn this amount. I'm not going to tell you yet. That's called a tease. Less than their white counterparts. And we're going to get into that conversation and what Google's plan is, excuse me, to take care of that. So we will look more into that. We're also going to get into California lawmakers approving a bill that will decriminalize the possession and personal use of a number of psychedelics, including magic mushrooms, which seem to have gained a lot of popularity as of late. So we're going to have a conversation like that. We also will be having Eric Ashton Spooner in studio. He was a guest a few weeks ago, and he talks a great deal about spirituality and mental health as a black man in Hollywood. So we're going to talk to him about all of that. So make sure that VIPs, you're locked in tomorrow because, as mentioned, as always, every day, we have a lot of conversation. We have a lot to discuss. And, we keep you in the know. That's why you're locked in with me. So thank you for rocking with us tonight. It is truly, truly appreciated. I'm trying to see what I missed that maybe I could fill in for you guys really quickly because there's a lot, but it all kind of takes too long and I want to really get into it. So we're going to wait for tomorrow. What I will say though is make sure you're ready to watch Nicki Minaj. See if there's any, frowny faces, bad looks, subliminals. It could happen. The VMAs is known for that type of excitement. We're also going to get into more of the Kevin Porter Jr. story and see what happens with that. Plus, as I mentioned, Eric Ashton Spooner. Thank you for rocking with us, VIPs. You have been checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe. When we come forward, you will be listening to the best of KBLA. Have an amazing night.
Three words of the wax, tell yourself back. So getting down and ain't giving no slack like a Burger King with the sack of Big Macs. With throwing down and with the rockables hats on time. In your mind, see, you gotta book it to your best ability. You gotta funk it up until they knock you down. And when you're bumping up, make sure you pass it around. Come on, let's go to work. We got what'll make your body jerk. Make you throw your hands up in the air.